Hi there, welcome back to the Noah Presgrove case. We're looking at some of the latest articles today in recent time. No, I'm not currently undercover, even though there are some very strange false claims being made about me and fake accounts and whatnot. But we push the BS aside and we focus on in and we debut a new look. There we go. Yes, it's time. It's time. People may be wondering, what is this? I'll explain right now. So let me just make my way over, okay? It took some time to stylize to get so it works just fine. It's absolutely perfect. Yeah, really high-end quality. So basically, shout out to Sharon. Okay, hopefully Sharon is present. I appreciate what she said in the last video. But yes, it's true. Even a black bag can do the job. And this is the only bag I had about, okay? Yeah, it may be a bit loose, but it does the job. Okay, and it's very shiny as well. And you want to... Yeah! Come on, man! Breaking on through. Now, I wasn't going to do that to my shirt because I didn't want to ruin it. But that's one way to break into today's video. So welcome to those that are currently here in this live premiere. Share your thoughts, reactions in the live chat box right hand side of the screen. And by the end of watching this, if you have any questions, whether you agree, disagree, if your thoughts have changed, let me know down below in the comment section. You'll also find a pinned message by me with additional links if you want to support this channel. Shout out to Cleo in recent time for her support on the channel. If you want to follow up with previous videos of mine, if you have missed out, top right corner where the eye symbol is, make sure to click up there and you'll get a drop down box. I actually did a Kenny Veach shorts video earlier. I thought it was worth doing because it's quite an interesting point. And it's the thing, it doesn't matter what case it is, if there's some kind of material or footage years on, and I'm talking years on, you can look back at something, listen in, and you pick up on stuff you didn't years before. So there's always something there. It's just the timing of when you meet, when you come across it, whatever it may be. So maybe that can apply within the Noah Presgrove case too. The reason why we're looking at articles today, official news ones, because it's been lacking for some time. We've looked at the informal discussions and some disputes and some conflict on Facebook, but let's look at a more formal approach now. Don't mean to say that the formal approach will be better, because there could be misinformation, there could be a certain agenda. It depends how it's worded, because one of them is the Daily Mail, okay? And then the other one is wethepeople.com, well, people.com. And they've been a little bit dodgy too, because they interviewed Jack Newton at one point, or did an article interviewing Carter Combs or Avery Howard, but it ended up all being about Jack Newton instead, which is a bit weird. And it just, when it came to certain claims being made about Noah just got up, walked off, no mention of being escorted, but then it's been mentioned all the other places that was escorted. So it could be a bit of a bumpy ride today. Just as a heads up, the Daily Mail article is to do with the bombshell of Kaden's private interview, I believe, being leaked or hacked. So we have covered that already, but there's no harm in looking back. I think that article by Daily Mail was done at some point in September, but don't worry. The other article, which is a bit more recent, was October 31st, so much more closer, and that's to do with reward money. And we have seen the odd article about that, but can compare and contrast to how it's worded elsewhere by these formal media groups, whether they include extra information which I or you may have never heard of before, or reiterate key points from the past which have been forgotten about, and if not in my case, I might have never have known of because I wasn't here since day one. That's what I want to focus on today. I had a brief look on Facebook and stuff, discussions still ongoing, of course. As a heads up, if no one, or if people weren't aware, I am a part of the army page once again, so it's all fine there. But I'm still sticking with my videos outside of the box, thinking is the best way to go forwards, just like how I always did it in the past. So I thought I'd just mention that. Without further ado, let's get into today's discussions and begin reading without further ado, let's get into today's discussions and begin with the article about Kaden Pressy. Title of this first article reads, Bombshell New Details Emerge About Mysterious Death of Oklahoma Teen Noah Presgrove as Police Interview with Key Witness is Leaked. So it's to Kaden Pressy. Now, the term leaked has been used a lot, but Alicia Lee, more so in recent time, has referred to it as not leaked, but more so hacked. As to a true identity behind the person that hacked it, I don't think that's ever been revealed. Will it ever be? I wonder. By Nick White, who could be the same person that's done the coverage in the past, 21st of September 2024, and it has been updated since. Some more photos there. There's a photo of Kaden in the middle. Now, if it is a bit too repetitive, I might just skip past portions of it unless it might be worded differently or some new details. A friend who partied with a teenager before he was mysteriously found dead, so I'm guessing to do with Kaden Presgrove, was wearing only shoes when his body was discovered on the desolate stretch of the highway. It just so happens that Donna Bond, who I think may be a local in the area or so, who saw footage of the highway scene post-death, and it was to do with Noah Presgrove with no shoes on him, just not present. Bit random, isn't it? I don't know at what point that occurred, but just a reference. He was last seen about a mile away at the party house for Avery Combs' 22nd birthday. Described as heavily documented on social media, which is a bit of a joke because it really isn't when you look back now. Presgrove suffered massive head and upper body injuries that led him to die from internal bleeding, but the cause of those injuries remains a mystery. Close pals still raging well into that Sunday night consistently claimed they had no idea how he died, if they were even awake when he did. A rough series of events emerged over the year since his death and the case was investigated. What does that mean by a rough series of events? What's been rough and for whom exactly? Texts were leaked and details intensely discussed online. After 2 nights of particularly heavy partying, Presgrove and several others took an ATV for a drunken spin and flipped it. Just for the fun of it, for the sake. Now, just imagine if Noah Presgrove had his own vehicle at the party house and he tried making it back home. You think the same could have happened there with Noah? Could it have been worse? Who knows? No one was hurt. That's kind of bullshit. But he was dirty enough that 2 of his friends gave him a shower and he changed into a different pair of shorts and argued with birthday girl Avery Jo Combs about whether he could sleep in her bed. Right, so we do need to add on because obviously this Daily Mail only takes into account certain older details and not what we've heard since. Considering, well, maybe it might reference it later on in this article if they're talking about the leaked or hacked interview by Kaden Pressy, because Kaden did mention some eye-opening details within that interview. We'll see if they re-quote it later or not. But for now, so there's not as much confusion and we remain up to date. To say that, yeah, Noah and, was it worded as his friends? Let me just double check. Presgrove and several others. Several others. How many and who exactly were in it with Noah? No names have ever been mentioned, and that's problematic in my opinion. You know, where it says no one was hurt. Well, Kaden Pressy said he saw the side-by-side rollover video. The timestamp was at 2:40 in the morning on Monday, September 4th, 2023. And when Noah got out or stood up, he had a bloodied nose. So he was hurt. It might have not been fatal enough, but still an injury and a form of blood loss. If Noah was injured to that extent, what condition were the other people in? How bad were they? Maybe they were fine. Were they frustrated? Were they laughing? I wonder what the reaction was. Shock. Now, Noah may have been dirty, yes. 2 of his friends giving him a shower. Well, from what Carter Combs has said, they didn't give Noah a shower or wash down. They just escorted him to the shower area and was there to make sure he didn't fall over because he was drunk. So supposedly not much or non-physical contact made with Noah's body.
But you never know. And then after that, going into a different pair of shorts. But what shorts though? Jack's been borrowing the white ones or so. Yet Kaden Pressy did see Noah at the highway in black shorts. So that's interesting, isn't it? How many pairs of black shorts did Noah have Monday or Sunday night? Did Noah have a spare pair of black shorts to put on after the shower? Yes or no? Now, arguing with birthday girl Avery about whether he could sleep in a bed supposedly was the case. But that wasn't just it, because Jack Newton added in himself in the last Partners in True Crime video during that pre-recorded phone call interview. Jack mentioned at some point Noah went to Logan Jernigan's bedroom, another girl, a friend that lived there, and asked the same thing, and I guess in a way was rejected. Now, in what order was it done? Did Noah go to Logan first or Avery? Either way, Jack mentioned that Logan was the last person to see Noah walk off. And in the past, it was Jasmine Milan that said it was Avery the last person to see Noah walk off. And at some point in between, it was Jack Newton supposedly to see Noah walk off. Either way, Jack links to an event with Noah. Avery and Logan links to a certain event with Noah in a short space of time, doesn't it? So either one, if not all, could have been the last few people to see Noah walk off. But no restraint, no attempt made to call him back or to make sure he's in place. Because this is the thing, if Jasmine and Carter were somewhat concerned enough to guide Noah to the shower to ensure that he wouldn't fall over or slip if he was drunk and he wasn't quite there with it, what would make people think it's perfectly okay for Noah to then just wander off by himself into the dark and east towards the highway? Yeah? You'd have thought maybe someone would have called him or followed him to make sure he doesn't wander off too far if he's drunk, because he could be considered vulnerable. He could get lost, he could get injured in the dark, and who would be able to help him in the moment? Interesting. After being told no, he wandered off to clear his head after the bedroom fiasco, and wasn't seen again until two passing motorists spotted his body, called 911 at 5:43 a.m, the first call. That's the exact specific timestamp that I've said every bloody time previously. So there's that. Then 5:46 being the second call, but a failed one, by Tyler Hardy. Then the third and final call, which was the second call by Tyler Hardy at 5:53. There's the two people. Presgrove's best friend, Jack Newton, said he happened upon the scene about 6 a.m. as he left to go fishing with his father, Caleb, whom he called at 6:05 a.m. But there has been obviously talk and references made that it was much earlier, 5:15, when Kaden was woken up by Jack upon the news of Noah's death. So, you have an hour or just under earlier into the day. So, why is it being put across at 6 a.m, right? And then that 4 a.m. timestamp where Jack said it himself to Justin Roy when asking questions and answered, that's the time when Noah passed away, 4 a.m. Enough hours passing by in between, right? However, another teenager who was at the party claimed in a leaked interview, Kaden Pressy, that Noah Presgrove was dead an hour earlier. In quotes, Jack Newton burst through the door saying Noah is dead, like frantic, tearing up. Kaden Pressy, 20, told detectives. He slammed through the door. He ran back out the door immediately. I look at my phone because I felt like I just went to sleep, and it was 5:15 a.m. I wonder if there's anyone else. There might have been. I've just not seen it publicly. Anyone else that refers to 5:15, another partygoer, another witness. It would be important. Nevertheless, in the background, I guess you could say, when it comes to Jasmine Milan, who reached out to her mother, Renee Milan, at a certain set time, it kind of links on with the news of Noah's death already happening or taking place, awareness of it before 6 a.m. and before 5:53 earlier. There's Kaden. Kaden said he and 3 boys, Mikey, Isaac, Rojas, Brylan, soon followed Jack out the door, drove to where Presgrove's body was about a mile up the highway. Claimed he saw Presgrove lying contorted on the side of the road, wearing different shorts to those police recovered from the scene. Right, so basically worded as Kaden saw black shorts on Noah, police retrieved white shorts from the scene later on, which were actually in the middle of the road, which is odd. Kaden first interviewed by OHP last October, where he gave them the same story, but was called back June 21st after he started discussing his recollections on social media of 2024. Now it makes me wonder, what's the difference between the October and the June interview? It's okay saying Ken told the same story once again, but surely there might be some details which might be a little bit different, or, just because of memory. If you can hear interviews from the very, start, it could be much more fresher. 2-hour interview. Kaden confirmed that the audio was authentic and that he stood by the claims he made during the police interview. His testimony calls into question huge parts of what is known about the events leading up to Pressgrave's death and how his body ended up on the highway. Kaden did also mention that, whether that being the private one or more so in the partners in true crime, that has been tampered with, like evidence, the body, the scene. Kaden explained to 2 detectives that he met Pressgrave through Jack in freshman and sophomore year of high school when they hung out at Walmart in Duncan, Oklahoma, because there was nothing to do in town and there was drink as well. They were never really close and only spent time together with Jack and other friends from the area about 40 miles north of where the party was held. They were never really close. Really? I mean, well, if that's talking about Kaden and Noah, yeah, not that close, just friends. But Kaden did refer to Jack as a best friend, from what I remember. There were about 40 people at the Saturday night of the party when Pressgrave and Jack got into an argument about midnight. Was it worded as 12 p.m. or 12 a.m.? The number 12 was mentioned by Kaden. Either way, it was worded as Noah was the one that had the issue with Jack. But I think what's more important, as you see here, is a bit of like a rough transcript. Kaden said 40 people present at the party Saturday night. Well, in Partners in True Crime, Kaden said Sunday night, when social media kicked off and more people came on down. 40 people, roughly. It's a bit different, isn't it? Now, I only mentioned Saturday here, but from what I remember hearing in the private interview, Kaden said Friday and Saturday, 40 people at the party, 40. That's interesting. When what we've heard publicly, Kaden saying it was Sunday, there was 40. What's going on there? Now, Noah was saying Jack was always flirting with girls he liked. Noah seemed pretty pissed about it, Kaden said. Right, so it's not the first time then. So, if that's really the case and Noah was pissed off about it, not pissed off Jack, not Jack pissed off, but Noah. And if it's happened in the past too, and despite being best of friends, I guess there's a bit of tension, a bit of gears grinding, you could put it that way. In quotes, when Noah's drunk, he's flirty with any kind of woman, to my knowledge. He was messing with Avery at the time. They were having sex. When? What, at the party? Noah fell asleep on the ground with Logan Jernigan on Saturday night. They didn't do anything, but when I woke up, I remember Avery saying to Logan, if you did anything together, I was going to kill y'all, but they left it off. That's not the first time Avery said a line like that. Jack in Facebook Messenger explained the argument to another friend. We argued about girls for a second, then we ended up holding each other, crying, telling each other how much we meant to one another. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Now, it's interesting how Jack's trying to play it as, oh, it was all resolved in the end, it was fine, it wasn't that big of a deal, the argument. Well, Noah's not here to tell his side of the story. Why would Jack try and play it down and say it's fine at the end of the day? Is it because at the end of the day, that argument consisted of Jack being in the wrong and Noah being on the receiving end, with Jack going behind Noah's back, Jack flirting with Noah's girlfriend at some point? Was that at the time of being with Carter Combs? Yeah, a bit of a sticky situation. Let's move on. Party continued Sunday night. About 15 people showing up, including Kaden's cousin, 15 years old. Got so drunk, started throwing up. Is that Sam? One of the videos posted online was Kaden filming some of the party goers socialising. Oh yeah, from that point of view to show his mother she was okay. Yeah, I remember that. Another photo showed her sitting on the ground outside. Really? I was never aware that Kaden Pressy's cousin, there was a photo of her taken outside of the party house as she was sat down on the ground. Has anyone seen that before? Anyone right now in the chat or the comments, leave a response. Let me know. Have you seen it or what? It's the thing. There might be party footage out there, but has it all been gathered together? Even if it's public and it's not that significant, what other grey areas are there out there which have not been seen to most? Because I'm sure there's a range of stuff that I've never seen before, but it could be of great value. Anyway, what else do we have? Kaden also filmed the last known footage of Noah before his death. Really? Showing him daring another teen, Brylan Sweat, to slap him in the face. The video was posted at 1:42 a.m. and Kaden went to sleep on the living room couch soon after. 1:42 a.m. Yeah. I probably heard it worded as 1:40 a.m. But in terms of it being posted 2 minutes later, possibly. That's interesting, that. I've got to try and not get mixed up with the times. 1:30 a.m. That was what the timestamp of when possibly it was Noah and was it 1:30? Noah and Jack in the bathroom together. And then 1:40 or 1:42 being around the time of Kaden. Yeah, maybe it's just how I've worded it in the past. Actually, it's a bit of a mess. Ken said he went to sleep around 2 in the morning and then woke up at 2:42. He said he didn't remember Presgrove leaving the party, but Jasmine Milan, Avery's best friend, told him a little before 2 in the morning that he walked off. Well, it was worded more so in between 2 to 3 in the morning. But Jet said Noah walked off at 3:30, so there's a possibility that Noah walked off multiple times. Just the very last time round, he didn't return back. This is more than an hour before Presgrove was previously said to have wandered away, and well before Jasmine posted a Snapchat at 3:41 a.m. saying, well, Noah is missing. I shrugged it off because Noah always walks off at parties when he's drunk, and he always comes back. We never have to go searching for him, Kaden said. You know why this quote is very important? Because it's obviously said by Kaden himself. You can hear it for yourself if you listen to the private interview. The time when Jasmine Milan said the same thing, or roughly, people said, we don't believe it, bit sceptical, fair enough. But because Kaden says it now, do people believe in it more? I still see some comments here and there where they say, Noah wandered off. Are we meant to believe that? Why would Noah walk away and then it leads to his death? It just doesn't seem right. It doesn't make sense. Noah wouldn't do that. Well, Kaden Pressy saying that Noah normally does. He normally walks off at parties when he's drunk, but he always returns back. So, you got to take that in mind and acknowledge. He said Presgrove usually walked off when he was upset to try to calm down, so it doesn't ruin the mood for everyone else, so Noah being considerate. But if you was to gauge it off that, whenever Noah walks away, it's because he's upset. Well, it looks like he walked away quite often then, as Kaden said. So does that mean that Noah got upset a lot if he keeps walking away? Doesn't sound like a healthy environment. And let's just say that Noah, it doesn't mean to say every time he walks off is because he's upset. It's just sometimes he walks off because he's upset. Would that apply to the bedroom situation, not being able to sleep in a girl's bed, so he gets a bit upset and he just walks away, cools off? But what about in between 2 to 3 in the morning earlier, an hour before everything happening? Was he upset then as well? I mean, maybe he was upset because he couldn't get given a lift back home and he wanted to go home. So that could be another reason. Kaden went to sleep right after that until he was woken up by a call from his mother, Alicia, about 3:20 a.m. Oh no. I've never heard that timestamp mentioned before. 3:20 in the morning. No. At least from how I remember hearing it, Kaden Pressy originally said he went to sleep 2 a.m. He was woken up by a call from his mum, Alicia, at 2:42 a.m. Not 3:20. If Alicia Lee is watching this, if you want to reinforce it or make any corrections, feel free to do so. Alicia told Kaden she and her sister picked up his cousin, the 15-year-old, from the party, but not directly from the house, in case you're wondering. Because it was from the side of the highway. That Kaden's cousin was actually leaving the party house with her friend, I believe, possibly in the same vehicle. And at some point through the Life 360, the location shown that she was moving and just wanted to pull over and take her home safely by proper guardians. That's just a rough way of saying it. That was the last thing he remembered before he was woken up by Jack bursting through the door at 5:15 a.m. as he was the closest to the door. Right. That wasn't the last thing Kaden remembered before he was woken up by Jack, right? Because if we just dial it back just a little bit, 2:42 is upon getting a call from the mum, Alicia, about the cousin safely returning home at 2:42. Fine. The next thing that happened, though, which Kaden acknowledged partially, is that closer to 3 in the morning, or in the private interview at around 3:20, he assumed or saw that Noah was still present at the party house with possibly Jasmine Millan and, of course, Jack Newton. It does vary because in Partners in True Crime, Kaden words it as he saw Noah there, awake, alive in the party house. In the private interview, Kaden words it as, I didn't see him, but I assumed that Noah was there. Right? 2 different stories. Anyway, in quotes, I wake up, Isaac, Mikey, Brylan. I yelled at them, hey guys, get up. Jack says Noah's dead, Kaden said in the police interview. Kaden said he noticed 2 of the 3 boys who went to bed on the couches and floor nearby him had switched sleeping positions since the 3:20 phone call. You mean the 2:42 a.m. phone call. Why is it being quoted as 3:20 here? Because Kaden said in his official statement publicly 2:42. Is anyone else getting confused? In quotes, I don't know if that means anything, but one of them got up to go and do something, he said. Right, so that's Mikey Lair and Brylan. Those 2, switching places. Kaden realised one of his shoes wasn't present, spent 2 to 5 minutes looking for it. It was on Presgrove at the highway. Presgrove couldn't find his other Adidas shoe and so impulsively pulled on one he found laying about the house. His friends, with an S, said. That's interesting, isn't it? Because people were working out online, why would Noah be wearing mismatched shoes? Why not just put on your own shoe? Is it because you're drunk? Is it because you're in a rush? Or because you just can't find your other shoe, so you just put the next best thing on? And why do you need to put shoes on when you go outside? How much distance are you going to cover on foot? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? But when it says what his friends said, which of his friends said that Noah couldn't find his other shoe? In quotes, load up in my Jeep. They were just behind Jack as pulled up to the side road, sometime between 5:20 and 5:25 a.m. That's a bit rough. It was at 5:21 a.m. When they got out, Kane said he could see a semi-truck facing south, so his truck north. His and Jack's cars were the only ones at the scene and law enforcement hadn't arrived, he said. Jack gets out of his vehicle and just sits and stares towards Noah, and the service truck driver walks up to Jack and they start talking, he said. Now, what did they actually talk about? In quotes, I never saw the semi-truck driver. I walked towards Noah, and there he is, laying there all contorted. Laying on his side, but his chest is towards the ground and his head is facing towards the grass. One of his arms was behind his back. I don't remember it being worded directly like that. Sprawled out, I remember. Kane explained the position of the other arm and legs with gestures and added that it was pitch black with the scene lit by headlights. I didn't see any blood, which is important, he added. Another crucial detail that agrees with other witnesses and is taken as evidence by many that Presgrove was killed elsewhere and his body was moved. See, even this more, I know not everyone will agree with the article, but more of a formal article is, highlighting that. In quotes, he's wearing black shorts, the same black shorts you can see in the videos from the party. Well, those shorts he's wearing from the party were the same ones which he wore in the side-by-side rollover. Got all muddy and dirty. Went to the shower, clothed, unclothed. If clothed, shorts getting soaking wet and then doing what afterwards? And then walking away with those shorts on, dry or wet? I wonder. Or dirty? I mean, there is some small print Isaac Ra has, but I think that's just to do with the photos, which you can't see on screen. Presgrove's autopsy report said the teenager was naked except for 2 mismatched shoes and a pair of white shorts were on the road nearby. Friend said he took off the black shorts to shower after the ATV accident and put on loose-fitting white wrestling shorts he borrowed from Jack. If it really is true that Noah took his shorts off in the shower, obviously not wearing anything whatsoever, Jasmine, Milan, Carter Combs getting full view of everything, could it have made Jack Newton jealous? Not for not being there or missing out, not like that, but I meant like knowing that your girlfriend is witnessing your best friend just completely with nothing on, I don't know, and having a wash, assisting or not. It makes you think. Now, there's some extra details which were added on by Brooke Bounds Carter that after the shower, Noah remained unclothed and was running around teabagging people. Now, maybe we can do that as a standalone video and just look into some of the comments and make sense of it. Whether it links to Noah's death or not, we just highlight it like how we've done all the other times. Kaden's insistence that Presgrove was still in the same shorts he was in before is a major discrepancy that, if accurate, appends the existing narrative. I walk back towards my vehicle and Isaac is bawling his eyes out, so I give him a hug and tell him he's going to be okay. Kane continued. Go to the truck to get the blanket, just to cover the body. It also didn't deserve to be laying out there. As soon as I got there, we were told to leave. Kane explained he initially remembered it being the service truck driver who sternly told him and the other boys they needed to go, but a couple of months after Presgrove's death, Jack insisted it was himself. Really? I don't remember it being worded like that. How can you get mixed up between a person like Jack Newton telling the guys to go back home, and then a service truck driver? Clearly they look different and sound different. You don't get mixed up between that. I mean, has Jack ever insisted it was him himself, swearing and getting angry, telling Kaden, Brylan, Isaac, Mikey to leave? I've never heard it worded like that before. Very interesting. He said he didn't call 911 because he assumed someone at the scene before him already had done. That's pretty normal. Yeah. Kane drove back to the house. We all followed in car whilst Jack stayed at the scene and went to the living room. The girls were crying and they asked us if Noah was really dead, and we told them yes, and they burst into tears and start walking around crying and went to the back room. You can hear the girls crying in the back room. We were all sitting there thinking for a couple of minutes, and then they all go back to sleep like nothing just happened. For a couple of minutes, then they all go back to sleep. Really? So he's saying that Kaden was the only one awake. I mean, in the Partners in True Crime interview, Kaden said as soon as they got back to the party house, Mikey, Brylan, Isaac went to sleep like that. Oh, Kaden couldn't, so he sat down and just watched some TV as a distraction. As for the girls, I was assuming they were still awake, but how it's worded here, they went to sleep as well. How weird. Interesting, because when you get someone like Kathy Bingham, private investigator, that calls out Kaden for just simply sitting there watching TV, that's a bad thing in the eyes of her. A bit doubtful, a bit questionable. Oh, but everyone else that's visibly upset and then just suddenly goes to sleep like that, oh, that's perfectly normal. It's a bit one-sided. Didn't know what to do. Yeah, you see the quote there. Whilst watching TV alone, the girls later came out and joined him. Right, so maybe it's just how it's poorly worded here. So it's just the guys that went to sleep, the girls in the back room crying but remaining awake from the looks of it. They came out and joined Kaden until Jasmine's mother Renee, her husband, daughter Stephanie Millan, and Steph's boyfriend arrived just before sunrise. Kaden said around 6:30 a.m. when the Millans arrived. Interesting how Stephanie Millan turned up as well, because on a Snapchat conversation in the past, Stephanie was claiming to be a party goer who was at the party, throughout. Doesn't seem to be the case there, does it? Kaden said it was his idea to get rid of all the alcohol containers so no one would get in trouble for underage drinking. At the time, they thought Presgrave died in a hit and run, so the house wouldn't be a potential crime scene. Right. If that's truly how it was interpreted at the time, regardless of who it was, the act of let's tidy up now, so it doesn't come back to haunt us or for police to question us, it's like, oh, let's already cover up a potential hit and run just in case it links to us in some way. To say that so the house wouldn't be a potential crime scene, that already sounds like you're instantly covering it up. What? That's at least how it's worded here. It just sounds a bit stupid. Right? Oh, it's a hit and run. Yes or no. At the time when you don't know all the details, it's understandable. But to think, right, what can we do in the meantime? Let's clear things up. Just in case it's treated as a crime scene or it is a crime scene. No. That's already dodgy. That's very... Renee asked where the guns were. They gave them to her to remove from the house as another possible complication. It included Jack's AR-15 style 300 Blackout with thermal sight and suppressor, Brylan's bolt-action hunting rifle, and Isaac's pump-action shotgun that was seen holding in one of the videos from the party. Take in mind, Renee supposedly collecting these firearms to return to the owners. Well, Brylan's bolt-action hunting rifle is in possession of him present at the party, and so is Isaac. So why would they have to hand over the guns to be given back afterwards when they're in possession of it at this time? Stupid. And in terms of Jack's AR-15, well, how it was worded previously, directly by Jack or another witness, that he, Jack, decided to lock his gun in his vehicle, or in the back of his vehicle, truck, not left inside the house. And if Jack used his vehicle to get from point A to point B into the highway scene, then his gun should be with him, not at the house. It's interesting. Kaden took the remaining alcohol with him and gave Isaac, Brylan, Mikey a ride home. Then went home about 8 a.m. and told his mother what happened. After telling his story to the detectives, Kaden was asked about what he heard from others at the party about what happened whilst he was asleep. He said he recalled seeing a photo of Presgrove with the flipped Polaroid Ranger side by side, but he only knew about the crash second hand. Oh, recalled seeing a photo of Noah with the side by side rollover. No, that's not how it was worded. Nope. How it was worded in the actual interview is Kaden was shown a video footage of the side by side rollover with the timestamp at 2:42 a.m. I remember that. Yeah, 240, 242, not 142. I wonder if that's why I was getting mixed up earlier, because this article was wording it as 142, but I'm sure it was worded as 242. It would have had to have been. That's how I've been wording it ever since. So this Daily Mail article, I think, has got the timestamps mixed up, which is a fucking cluster mess. Wow. Okay. He understands it was Jack's then girlfriend and Avery's sister, Carter Combs and Jasmine, who gave Presgrove the shower, as that's what they were told him on the Monday morning after Renee arrived. Detectives pressed Kaden on the time Jack burst through the door. Timeline conflicted with so much with what other people, like Jack, told him. 100% positive, 5:15 being the time. Only 5 or 10 minutes before they got to Presgrove's body after that. We remembered the time because he immediately looked at his phone. Kaden's version of events, controversial because it differs drastically from others. But what about the controversial changes of stories by the others, on and off? But he is seen as a folk hero by those who are convinced Presgrove was killed and his body moved to the highway. Oh no, this is almost as bad as people being called conspiracy theories just for thinking outside of the box. So, how it's worded here, Kaden Pressy is a folk hero. Oh no. Initial coverage of Presgrove's death, April, incited global media attention. Yeah. Those less enthused include Jack confronted Kaden on Snapchat asking for his point of view and timeline of the night as he was hearing all kinds of stuff and didn't want to get upset before I get upset because there were so many rumours going around. Yeah, that was a bit awkward. Kaden replied that he should be the one who's upset because Jack was telling people he was begging to be friends again. I'm not really worried about anyone hurting me, just saying I'm afraid of finding out my friends aren't my friends, he wrote. Jack, you were there, you don't need my point of view or timeline, you know when you bursted through the door. You know me, Mikey, Isaac and Sweat followed you and you know it was dark as fuck. Only the service truck and box semi was there, but nowhere seen you say this, not to anyone. You know we all got out and you know who was there, so why aren't you telling the truth? Man, this really sucks, just tell the truth, bro. Jack replied, this ain't you, Pressy, you got the times all wrong. When Yal came to the scene, it was light outside, as Sweat and all of them. See, this is the thing, something very simple has to happen or should have. Kaden says one thing, Jack says another. How do you find some middle ground? Bring other people into the discussion, other witnesses, and their recount at the time, if they remember, and go from there. Maybe it's already happened. Well, if it has, it should have been resolved by now, and clearly it hasn't, because there's still a divide. And at least publicly speaking, I've not seen anything as for things being reinforced. Ken replied, saying he was really bothered that Jack insisted it was light outside when he arrived. Dawn began at 6:42am, September 4, 2023, and sunrise was 7:06am, according to records, meaning it would still have been dark in either timeline. Ken told police in the interview that he stopped being friends with Jack a couple of months earlier, and then the entire friendship group cut him off. But it wasn't all down to Kaden's choice. He was advised by the mother, Alicia Lee, to step away from Jack because felt he wasn't a good influence. No one wants to talk to me anymore. They still hang out together, but they don't want to hang out with me no more, he said. He said the rift began after his mother told him to stop hanging out. Yeah, there we go. I'm one step ahead there. Carter backed up her then boyfriend in a comment on a post in one of the Facebook groups saying Kaden's story didn't make sense with her recollection. In quotes, Jack didn't just walk in and tell us Noah passed away. He came in running and buried his head into my bed, saying Noah was gone, and stayed for a minute and said, I got to go back to Noah. I can't leave him alone there, she wrote. Also, none of us went back to sleep. Me, Logan, Avery and Jasmine and the parents stayed outside crying, not understanding any of this, just like you. But this is also spreading lies. Carter Combs backing up her then boyfriend. Well, still, they're together. I don't know if they're married yet, but they've come back together as a couple. Obviously, they've not updated her hair. But Carter saying Kaden's story didn't make sense from what she remembers. Jack didn't just walk in and tell us Noah passed away. He came in running. Well, okay, if that's what Carter says, fine. But Kaden Pressy worded it as Jack burst through the door in a rush. Isn't that what Carter said here? So why are they disagreeing when they're saying the same thing? I don't get it. It's weird for it to be worded here that Carter backed up her boyfriend Jack Newton, when how it's worded here, Jack Newton did not say this in the last Partners in True Crime interview, the last video. Jack did not burst through the door. Jack did not come running in, alerting everyone in the moment. Jack didn't run off immediately. Jack said himself that he returned back, he confided in Carter Combs, and calmly, slowly told her what happened. And then around Avery, who was asleep or somewhat resting, said to Jack, "Are you okay?" And then that's when Jack opened up. It was done in a very calm, slow way. That's what Jack said himself. Yet Carter Combs, claiming to back up Jack, is saying the complete opposite, which is basically what Kaden said. Oh no. It's not exactly organised well here. But the bit about none of us went back to sleep. Didn't go back to sleep, meaning you were asleep, then you woke up, but you didn't go back to sleep. Right. Well, what time scale are we giving here? 5:15? Beyond? Jack and Carter got engaged in a few months after Presgrove's death and planned to marry this summer, but broke up in the past few months. Well, they're not broken up. They've got back together again. This article's a bit out of date. Well, no, not really, because we heard the news around September or before when this article was done. Other skeptics of Kaden's version of events argue he merely misremembered the time or his phone wasn't set to observe daylight saving. I think Kaden Pressy's timeline is a little, or maybe has some sort of false memory from trauma Avery and Carter's aunt, Sarah Long, wrote. Really? Oh yeah. Yeah. Not really heard Sarah Long's point of view for a while, so I kind of forgot. Kaden also faced hostility from Gulfmark Energy field supervisor Tyler Hardy, who found Presgrove's body on the road and called 911 at 5:48. No, it was 5:46 from what I remember, how it was worded in one of the official formats. Hardy and his wife accused Kaden of calling him a liar and implying he was involved in covering up Presgrove's death and manipulating the scene. Accused Kaden of calling him a liar and implying that... I don't remember seeing any of that. In the end, Kaden didn't see Tyler, Tyler didn't see Kaden. That's what I last remember. He insisted he never saw Kaden or his red Cherokee on the scene and only spoke to Jack whilst he was there. Why would I lie about who was there? If he was in Jack's truck, he didn't get out. The only person who walked up to Noah and told me who it was, he wrote in the comment, the whatever, caused Alicia to step in and defend her son, saying he had told his parents the same account for 8 months. 100% certain he too would pass a polygraph. He stated he saw the semi but not the driver. So his truck driver would be you, and Jack standing beside Noah, she wrote. He described how Noah's body was laying. He remembered seeing black shorts on Noah. Noah changed. Yep. I said someone took them off and got rid of them before the cops got there. They showed me the pictures of Noah and the white shorts beside him, and I instantly knew foul play was involved. Discussion developed. Ken said he saw did not look like Hardy's F-150, as it had a flatbed tray and equipment in the back. Kane also said the driver he saw didn't resemble Tyler Hardy. Okay. Kane Facebook Messenger conversation with a family friend last year also described the service truck as some government-like road worker vehicle. New theory was that 2 of the vehicles were there when Kaden arrived earlier, and they were gone by the time Tyler and the 911 caller arrived. Yeah, we've known that for some time now, it being talked about. During that time, the black shorts were removed from Noah's body and the white ones were put on the road, the theory goes. Renee, in an unrelated Facebook group thread, seemed to inadvertently contradict Jack in her account of when she arrived at the house. Oh, there we go. She wrote that Jasmine called her between 5:45 a.m. and 6 in the morning, and it took her 40 to 45 minutes to get there. I have enough time to jump up, get dressed, and go, she wrote. Jasmine would only have known Presgrove was dead at that time if Kaden's timeline was correct, 5:15. and Rene would have arrived at the house just before sunrise, about 7 a.m, as in Kaden's recollection. Well, no, actually, Kaden's recollection in Partners in True Crime was Rene arrived at the party house 6:30 a.m. As for the private interview, no timestamp was given, so it's not entirely smooth. Kaden, in another message last year, also undermined Jack's explanation of how he came across Presgrove's body by the side of the road. Jack had a bad feeling, and he said he drove around for a bit looking for him, and then he's seen the semi, and there was nowhere. And he came back and told us, and we all went down, made us leave, and Jack stayed. He wrote, I just got woken up at around 5 a.m. to Jack screaming Noah is dead. However, Jack's version of events is he woke up ready to go fishing after 5:30 and was told his best friend was missing. I think maybe he got a ride or something. Noah's done that before, got mad and left, he told Jack. He was one usually to worry about. I wasn't really thinking about it. Jack said he assumed Presgrove was fine and left for the lake. Right, until he saw the semi, the pickup on the road. Yeah, last update was 4 months ago when it said Presgrove's death was not being investigated as a murder. OHP troopers confirmed during Kane's interview that the FBI is not involved in the case, which doesn't sound positive whatsoever. For most part of it, it was kind of a good summary, and it did clearly highlight the contradictions and counterpoints with the timings and stuff, but indirectly, although it didn't mention it, it's supposedly, when re-quoting what Carter Combs had to say when backing up Jack Newton, it actually backed up more what Kaden was saying, which seems counterproductive as for the goal at the time. But then again, there were some timestamps which seemed to be a bit off, as in the timing of the side-by-side, as in it was a photo. I thought it was a video, because that's how Kaden worded it in the private interview. Maybe the Daily Mail got a little bit confused at times with some timestamps. Some positives, some negatives to take away from the article. Some of you may have seen it, others haven't. Just wanted to share it to you in general. Now, what we can do right here is take a look at the freshest, latest article about the reward money and see how it's been worded there. Let's catch up. People.com, and the title reads, Noah Presgrove's family offers major reward for the truth about his mysterious death. Exclusive. Might be exclusive, but we did hear about it much earlier. This published October 31st, 2024. As by who? No name exactly mentioned. Down below, caption quotes, we are hoping someone will see this and often be compelled to come forwards, his grandmother tells People. Now take in mind, the title offers major reward. You could argue and say it's a bit of an exaggeration that, not to sound rude, but was it $16,000? There'll be other cases out there with reward money which is significantly higher and would probably link to the word major. It all comes down to people's perception of money, I do understand. In terms of this case, very specifically, when you've got certain families supposedly with deep pockets on the inside, and if there are certain partygoers benefiting from that, deeper pockets, this reward money has nothing on that, in terms of it being major. And will anyone actually come forwards? Right? So, family of 19-year-old offering reward money for information. Anyone provides information leading to a conviction in Noah's killing, which has fueled widespread, will receive $16,000. In quotes, we're hoping someone will see this offer and be compelled to come forwards. It matters so that we, the family, can get answers as to what actually happened. The lack of information, misinformation surrounding Noah's death is mind-blowing, Smith says. And in the end, our family just wants the truth as to what happened. Justice. Some photos there, like a collection. Noah discovered September 4, 2023, along the highway. Resident found naked, base of his skull had been split into two, spine was fractured, 8-inch head wound peeled back, part of his scalp to the bone, autopsy stated, and the broken ribs. We can't comment further whilst their work continues. OHP have said that they don't believe Noah was murdered, but they're still ongoing the case. No one has been accused of a crime yet. Desperate for answers, Noah's family launched their own campaign for the truth, including hiring a private investigator, even though it was worded at the time as 3 private investigators. But here it's only mentioned as 1, and I'm guessing that's Kathy Bingham, and we've seen how that's gone. Asked to comment on Thursday, October 31st about the news of the family's reward, a spokesperson for OHP Patrol says that if someone comes forward with information, that will be part of the investigation, which remains ongoing. And that's pretty much it. For an exclusive article, they're a bit late, aren't they, in reporting on this? Though the theme of money is enough to get people to talk at times, where in this case, if there are counter forces that can match that same reward money, if not double, triple, quadruple it, the opposition may keep quiet if anyone is somewhat responsible or knows something that's going on. Of course, to people out there, it may feel like this case is kind of just going in circles and it's really not making much progress as for the public surface level, but there are still perceptions and avenues to look down, at least for me and my videos. I might see some or find stuff which may not have been mentioned or questioned before, like I've done previously. There's a time and place for that. But hopefully you found this video somewhat interesting, even if it's just like to refresh people's memory as in what's happened, what's gone down previously and what's been stated. Sometimes these formal articles are good because they bring back up past discussions and statements, which can be hard to find, especially when there's a lot of conversations from the Facebook side. But with that being said, I think we'll leave it there for now. If you do want to share this video, feel free to do so. As for that People article, it was pretty piss poor, to be honest with you, but it was reposted and reshared by Robin Smith on the Justice page, so it must have been important enough to share it there so people read about it, but equally, there wasn't really much about it. And to be honest, we saw, was it KSWO or some other news group that covered it previously, and they reported on it quicker? Will there be any more interviews, official ones or anything like that with certain family members or not? It seems kind of quiet now. I mean, every case is different and how families and parents can react, some more vocal than others. It does seem more quieter on this occasion compared to previous stuff I listened to with other cases like Dylan Rounds, but there we go. So if you want to hit the like button, that'd be appreciated, and we'll see what happens next. My name's Warlock Ref. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Good night for now. And don't think I've not forgotten about you, Sharon. Yes, this material may have been some kind of high-end clothing. It's no longer. Yes, I'm sorry. See, unfortunately, I think this might have been one of Sharon's dresses or something. I'm so sorry. Hopefully I don't get any repercussions or get punished. So maybe it can be fixed. But off subject, off the record, Sharon has said she's been in bed, aching, sore all over again. That's very unfortunate. Just a few extra taps. There we go. And I'll just mention one last thing because it's pretty important. I've noticed a pattern. Whenever Sharon is not handcuffed, she seems to be ill more often, right? So it looks like we've got to come out again. Come on, Sharon. Come on, Sharon. Open up. Where's your hand? There's your hand. Okay. So I'm just going to put it on. Okay. Let's get it firmly gripped around your hand. Okay. Okay. You see? Not going anywhere. And as for the other end, do I put it around mine? No, that'd be too dodgy. No. What we'll do, see that? Okay. Let's put it on here for now. Okay. So that is truly it of the video. Hopefully you found it somewhat interesting. It's good night and goodbye from Sharon. Bye, Sharon. Yes, there we go.